Right, so we're on week 12 now. My program just started. It's Monday, the 26th of May. Just to give a recap of week 11. Um, so last week, which was also week 5 of my hypertrophy program, I had a good week. It was, very good week with results in terms of the gains that I'd made on each of the body parts, the weights I'm lifting, the reps I'm doing. Everything is moving in the right direction, so that was good. No specific injuries as such, although I am feeling a few little niggles in my upper back that I'm having to spend a bit of time working on with the lacrosse ball. Um, that is certainly helping, the foam roller, and I'm doing a few extra band, like resistance band stretches prior to certain routines, just to make sure that I've got good mobility, and I'm reducing that risk of pulling any muscles, because as soon as that happens, you've essentially got to take a bit of time off to let it recover. So, um, although I did have a bit of an issue last week where certainly for about 5 days, I had some issue with. It felt like it was on my tailbone. So it's not the usual issue I have with my lower back. My lower back was feeling okay, relatively speaking. That's for someone who's got two bulging discs and constant back pain to some degree. But relatively speaking, it felt okay. Um, but I did have this issue with my tailbone. So when I was sitting down, it was just painful. And that lasted for about 5 days. It seems to be much improved, which is good, sort of back to normal. I don't ever remember that being an issue for me at any point in my life, um, really. But I would say it felt almost like someone had taken a hammer and just like whacked me right up on the tailbone, and then it's the aftermath of that. It just felt heavily bruised around that area. That's how it felt. So and it was painful to sit down, whether I was using cushions, whether I was sitting down on the side of the bed before going to bed, anything. It just felt painful. So and I don't know whether it was the leg session I did last week that I can't see how that would have caused this, but I can't remember anything last week that would have caused that, really. I didn't fall over anywhere. I didn't sit down on a rock, like drop myself down onto a rock, or I've got no idea how it happened. But for 5 days in the week, it was painful. Um, but yeah, I mean, other than that, last week it was a very good week in terms of the routines done. So I managed to get chest and triceps done on Monday. It was basically a chest routine, a full chest workout with one tricep exercise at the end of it, just to finish off the triceps, really. So I did 4 sets on triceps on one exercise, drop sets, went to failure on each of the sets. No rest, just sort of strip the weight down, go to failure again, strip the weight down a little more, go to failure, just for 4 sets. So it wasn't a full-on tricep workout, but felt like my triceps had been fully worked out. But it was a very good chest routine, good triceps finisher. Tuesday, I did legs and forearms. Both of those were great workouts. Um, Improvements in both workouts, which was good. Forearms, I do about 6 exercises for forearms just to try and hit all the different angles, and I improved on every set of every exercise, which is always good. Just shows things are going in the right direction. When I did legs, I increased the amount of sort of arse to grass bodyweight squats that I was doing for each of the 5 sets that I did at the beginning. I kept the rest of the routine fairly similar. Well, yeah, I think it was pretty much exactly the same as I'd done the week before. But that's fine. It was a very good workout. It's pretty cardio intensive, really, very very sweaty, which is fine because I'm not looking to do heavy weights on my legs or anything like that. I just want to keep myself conditioned through the leg workouts, make sure I've got good muscle endurance. So yeah, it was good routine from that perspective. But then after that, I took 2 active rest days. And as I've alluded to previously, my active rest days are typically just making sure that I get at least 10,000 steps in during the day. But I didn't do any specific resistance training. May have done a little bit of stretching, I forget. But yeah, so that was on Wednesday and Thursday. And Friday I did shoulders. Again, sort of knocked it out of the park throughout that whole routine, which was great. Saturday I did back and biceps. So really it's a back routine, avoiding deadlifts. The only other addition I would have done if I'm trying to make it a complete full-on back workout would be that I would start with deadlifts and then I would do all the other exercises that I did anyway in the order that I did them. But as it turns out, I'm trying to maintain mobility. Deadlifts are a problem. They cause my back a lot of issues, regardless of how good technique is or anything like that. Unfortunately, ego always does seem to creep in there and you keep wanting to put a little bit extra weight. And inevitably, whether it happens on the first session or the 10th session or the 20th session, it doesn't really matter. At some point, it's going to cause me a problem. So I don't include it now. But as far as the back session, the adapted back session that I'm doing currently, it was a very good session. Went up on all the weights that I'm doing, and I went up on the weights and also beat the reps that I was doing on the previous week with a lighter weight. So I'd go with a heavier weight and still get more reps than I got on the lighter weight the week before. So good improvements there. And for biceps, at the end of a back routine, again, it's a bit like how I did it with chest and tris. It's just one bicep exercise. I do 4 sets. I go to failure on every set. I keep the rest periods short. It's not a drop set, as it were, although I do start heavy and I do drop the weights, but I'm not going to failure on the heavy set and then immediately picking up a lighter weight. I'm normally taking about a minute's rest between then picking up a slightly lighter weight, going to failure. Doesn't really matter how many reps it is. I just make sure that I go to failure and try and ensure that it's within sort of 40 seconds to a minute of time under tension. That's optimal, really, for muscle growth. So that was good at the end of the back session, and that was on the Saturday. And then on Sunday I did an outright tricep workout. So not chest and tris, I just did triceps. So and that was a great workout as well. So I didn't do abs. I didn't work abs in the week, but I pretty much got everything else done that I needed to. So yeah, it was a good week, and now we're starting off week 6 of hypertrophy, but week 12 of the current sort of new fitness regime that I've been in. So that's good, and I'm feeling good today, which again, that's excellent. In terms of the walking that I did last week, I did 88,700 steps in total across the week, so averaging just over 12,600 steps a day. That's the average. So I think the most I did on any of the days was 15,900, and the least I did was 10,100. So, but that's all I need to do. That's good, as far as I'm concerned. Um, and then in terms of my weekly weight gain, because I'm trying to do a weight gain program at the moment, and I have been doing that for the last, well, 11 weeks really. I've been documenting it for 11 weeks. Um, this would, I weighed myself this morning, Monday morning, as per usual, and unfortunately, it wasn't great in my eyes. I'd actually lost half a kilo in weight. So whereas last Monday I was 82.7 kilograms, I'm 82.2 kilos today, which is where I was at 2 weeks ago on the Monday. I went from 82.2 to 82.7, and now I'm back to 82.2, which is, it's a bit frustrating because I've been eating a lot of food every day, sticking to the regime, the routine, 5 to 6 times a day, every day, eating. And all it made me think, I put a little note down this morning, because it's the first week out of these 11 weeks that I've actually lost weight. Every other week, bar one, I have put on weight, and the week that I didn't put on weight, I didn't lose any weight. I was exactly the same weight from week 6 to week 7. Um, so that sort of just made me look at what I need to do to keep adding weight. And obviously, when you're trying to add weight, you want to be, at a calorie surplus. You need to be eating more calories than you're burning. Sounds fairly simple. Um, and I think with all the exercise I'm doing, I am certainly going to be burning quite a lot. And given the fact I lost half a kilo, and yes, I'm still eating 5 to 6 times every single day without fail. No missed days or anything like that. Just tells me I need to be eating more with the meals that I'm having. It's not that anything I'm having is wrong. I just need to be adding a little bit more in there. So, the little note I put in this morning was 82.2 kg, lost half a kilo, annoying, but need to now add more potatoes and more rice with lunch and dinner, and also add a couple of bananas a day as opposed to just the one pre-workout, and increase my water intake to a minimum 3 litres, but really 3 litres or more a day of water. Now, I'm not far off that, and in the past, I used to ensure that I would have like 4 litres every day, and I did that for probably a couple of decades. So I probably just need to get back there, because if I'm adding more carbohydrates, I will need to be taking on board more water in order that I can then store those carbohydrates as glycogen in my muscles. If you don't have enough water, you're not going to store the carbs. So, and obviously, if your body holds on to the water and the carbs, that's weight that you're going to be adding to your body. Plus, it will fill out the muscles more as well, because you're going to be stacking them full of glycogen. So it will sort of almost bloat the muscles out, so give you a bit of a bigger look, I guess. So yeah, that's basically what I'm going to be doing from this week. So I had a load of potatoes, new potatoes, with my lunch, and I had a load of rice with my dinner. I had chicken with my lunch today, and I had roast beef for dinner. So still getting 2 protein shakes in a day. My breakfast is still the same. It's basically the superfood shake that I make up every day with my berries and my pineapple, the superfood powders, coconut oil, the 4 different types of seeds, the goji berries, packed full of water. And I actually so that's the video I've got on my site of the breakfast that's also good for vegans. But actually now I'm adding in a scoop of whey protein as well, some mango whey protein on top of that, so that adds probably another, I think it's another 23 grams of protein to the shake that I've was already doing. So so it's not too bad. And then snacks, like I might be eating some like beef jerky or biltong or some fruit potentially, but it would typically be bananas if I'm doing that. And I haven't had a lot of bananas outside of the pre-workout, which I typically do, but I've run out of bananas at the moment. I need to go shopping tomorrow. I'm going to do the food shopping and restock on everything. Yeah, and nuts and seeds as well. Like, just if I need a snack sort of between meals or anything like that, just a handful, whether it's, almonds or cashews, pistachios, hazelnuts. I've got, bags of the stuff, so I'll just take, a little bit of each and have it amount to maybe one or two handfuls of nuts. And I find that satiates me quite a lot, really, because it's a good source of proteins and fats. No sugars, so we're all good there. I'm not talking about salted peanuts and all this sort of stuff. They're just, as close to their natural form as possible, really. So yeah, that's the type of thing I'll be doing. So more rice, more potatoes, keep everything else as it is, as consistent as it is, but add more potatoes, more rice every single day, and more water. That's going to be the key thing. And we'll see how it goes next week. I'm hoping next week I come back with, a week where I add, over a kilo again. I've had a couple of those weeks out of the last 11. I've had 3 weeks where I added more than a kilo. The most I've added is 1.2 kilos in a week. I did that twice, and I added 1.1 kilo on one of the weeks, 0.9 kilos on one of the weeks. And so if I can be up around a kilo of weight added from where I'm at now, then, I would be over 83 kilos and again back on track. And it would let me know that I am eating enough to continue adding some weight. I may not work my legs out this week because I find the way I'm approaching it is very high volume. For the stage of training that I'm at, given the fact that I had 4 years off, and my back was in such a state before I started. Yeah, I think I may take a week or two off, maybe doing a full-on leg workout. I may just cut out the squats and do the rest of the leg workout that I do, but it just won't burn as many calories. Keep the walking, maybe just try and get the 10,000 a day average. So I cut back on the walking a little bit because obviously I am trying to put on weight, and if you're doing a lot of cardio work, that just makes it a bigger mountain to climb, really, to achieve those goals. And I've only got this week and 3 more weeks of doing hypertrophy and weight gaining, essentially. And then after that, I will be giving myself, it's about 5 weeks roughly, to try and strip some fat off my body. So it'll be increasing the amount of I'll start introducing interval training. So I'll be doing that, no doubt, at least 3 times a week, maybe 5 times a week. It all depends. Which is going to be like very short, intense cardio workouts. I will be going back to some of the muscle endurance routines I've done, and I will be cutting down on some of the carbs that I have been having. I might even start changing up the breakfast shake into something else where it's just like, I don't know, eggs, bacon, potentially. I do like a bit of bacon. Tomatoes, avocado, beetroot, that type of stuff for for breakfast. And if I go down that route, I'd probably be having at least 4 eggs, scrambled. I think I'll probably be doing scrambled eggs. Maybe I'll start the day with like an omelette, something like that, a 4 or 5 egg omelette with different bits of meat in there, some ham, some tomatoes, some chilies, some whatever it might be. But I'll probably change it up a bit just to take out, that load of sugars that I'm getting in the morning. Because in order to strip fat off my body efficiently and quickly, I mean, the idea is to try and force, if I feel like I'm not really getting the results I want, then I'm probably going to try and go into ketosis. But you kind of need to be somewhere between 20 and 50 grams of carbs a day and no more, ideally. And if you're talking 20 grams of carbs, it's nothing. You can, well, yeah, I mean, you really don't have to do anything to have 20 grams of carbs. 50 grams of carbs would probably be my goal. But even it's tricky. It's tricky to do that when you're not used to it. But it can be done. It can be done for sure. But I just need to start altering some of the foods that I have and eating a lot more of the other types of foods that would fit into a ketogenic diet. And then give myself 4 weeks on that diet, at least. Really, 30 days is really what you need when you make any big changes in your diet, because your body doesn't really start processing the fats on your body and utilizing them as energy very efficiently straight away. But the longer you leave yourself in that carb depleted state, the more efficient your body becomes at converting energy from the fats stored on your body. And that's how you start stripping down that fat fast. But it may not happen that much. You'll get some fat burning effect for sure when you start cutting out all the sugars. But your most efficient fat burning will probably begin after 30 days. I mean, it'll vary for everyone, but 30 days is a good guide to try and stick to. And then after 30 days, you'll probably be really burning huge amounts of fat proportionately across your body every day after that, as long as you can stick to that low carb intake and high protein and fat diet, and keeping things as close to their natural source as possible, keeping processed foods to as minimal as possible. And we'll see how it goes. But as I say, it was a bit of a disappointing morning to lose half a kilo over last week. I suppose we can look at the positives. At least it wasn't any more than that. And, I'm still where I was on week 9. And at that point, I'd essentially been gaining weight every week, really, since the beginning, because I started at 75.9 back on the 17th of March. And here we are now, 26th of May, and I'm 82.2. So, and I've been doing a high volume of exercise in comparison to what I've been doing over the last few years. So, and the amount of activity just in general has been increased a lot. So, a lot of positives. But yeah, I now just need to make a few adjustments for the next 4 weeks and see how I progress in terms of the weight gain. I really want to get myself to, I would really like to get to 85 kilos by the end of this hypertrophy phase, so in the next 4 weeks. Whether I can do that or not, I don't know. Typically, my body wants to be lighter, so I'm sort of fighting against nature. Where my body wants to strip me down, I'm trying to force myself up. So we'll see. At some point, there was always going to become a point of me plateauing. I did add on a good amount of weight in a short amount of time, eating healthily as well. So, yeah, as I say, maybe I've really got to start eating a lot more volume if I want to continue this weight gain. But yeah, I mean, I've done reasonably well today. Day's not over just yet. I've got to do a workout. I was going to do legs today, but then I just thought, you know what? I lost half a kilo. I don't want to be doing some intense leg exercise that burns masses of calories. Because quite frankly, I want to be putting on a bit of weight. So today, I mean, I might, as I say, I might do a leg workout this week. I'm not sure. I will continue doing all my steps every day, but maybe we'll just keep it to around 10,000 if I can. I don't know if that's possible. It might have to be a little bit more than that. I'm not sure. It just, obviously it depends what you've got going on each day and things like that. But yeah, we'll make a few little adjustments in order to try and aid my weight gain, and I'll report back in a week to see where we're at the beginning of week 13 of the fitness journey, and week 7 of hypertrophy. So that'll be at the beginning of next week. But yeah, have a great day. Hope you're all healthy, happy, enjoying life. And at some point this week, I'll probably try and record one of my routines. I put a leg workout video up there before, more just documenting the sort of stuff I'm doing. I get a little caught up sometimes trying to explain things. I should just do separate videos on technique, not while I'm actually doing the workout. But I think it's good to get full workouts up there so you can sort of see the approach. But the fact that I'm trying to explain things at the same time, it adds time to these workouts. If I'm not explaining things, the workouts are quicker, they're more intense, but I will at some point start taking individual exercises and giving a breakdown of why you do certain techniques, why you approach some of the exercises in certain ways, the best ways to get efficient muscle building, the best ways of adding, stress to the muscles and getting them worked on from their most stretched point of view, because that's what you want to do with most of these muscles. You want to get them stretched out fully while you're working through your range of motion. But anyway, I will touch on things like that in due course. There's plenty of time, plenty of videos to come, no doubt. And yeah, I will keep just plugging away with the routines that I am doing at the moment. Keep hopefully stacking the gains in all aspects, and let you know whenever I move on to the next phase of the journey. And the journey is all about getting that beach body ready for August, or a somewhat beach body. It's not going to be perfect because there's only so much you can do in the time that I have, but you can do a lot. You can do a lot if you eat correctly, you train in a very disciplined manner, and you've got a structured approach to it. You can definitely make some significant changes in the sort of time that I have, and it would be roughly 5 months from the time I started to the time I go on holiday. So I think that's a good amount of time, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get through it relatively injury-free. Although, niggles will happen, but I'll just have to do a bit more mobilization drills and more stretching out, and all the different things that you need to do when you start noticing certain restrictions creeping into your body. And as always, listen to your body, and I'll be back soon. Take care.